Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. Hello everyone, my name is Cheyenne and welcome to my journey of developing my interpersonal skills in this class. Now for this project, I chose communication in a group. Now this, by definition, is simply the act of sending and receiving messages with a multiple of people in a group. Now, this skill in general is really important to have, but especially for college students like you and I. Now, this is because it helps further develop your skill in communicating your thoughts and ideas clearly. It also allows you to kind of find a sense of belonging, especially in relationships, whether that's friendship, romance, or family, whether that's maintaining or ending, up to you, really. And then when it comes to group settings especially, there's always these aspects of support and guidance. And you don't fully get all of the experience when your skills in group settings aren't necessarily up to par. I chose this skill specifically fairly easily because I know when it comes to communicating, I definitely need the most work done when it comes to a group setting. Now this is just because I feel like big factors in communicating, especially with groups, is having comfort in yourself, because a lot of times those situations are not necessarily very comfortable. And you have to have that comfort in your ability to speak and communicate well. And then there's also this confidence. You have to have some kind of confidence that you're able to communicate what you want to communicate and get what you need to get from those experiences. And unfortunately, I don't think I have that, or it definitely needs improvement for sure. I tend to get really anxious, and that tends to be my biggest inhibitor when it comes to both comfort and confidence at the same time. It tends to, as a result, make me feel pretty small in terms of my presence. I already have like a softer tone of voice. It may not seem like it now, just because I am consciously raising my volume so that you guys are able to hear me clearly. But normally, I don't have a very loud voice. And that is one of the many different things that come into play of how confident you seem to appear to other people, and yourself, to be quite honest. Now, those perceptions can be the same or different, but in general, there's certain aspects of how you talk, the way you act, verbal and nonverbal communication that changes how people perceive you and how you perceive them, and then how you perceive yourself in general. And sometimes that relies on how others perceive you. And so in terms of the volume of my voice, when there's a group setting, it's a lot harder for me to communicate properly because people tend to not hear me. There's so much extra stimuli around that you wouldn't necessarily have on a one-on-one conversation that makes it a lot more difficult for people to necessarily hear you. And that tends to shoot my confidence way down. And I know that's not something that I should do, and that's definitely something I need to improve on. And that's what I'm doing with all of this. For example, I have recently started to be more engaged in my work meetings and communicating with strangers in groups. So when it comes to my job, every Wednesday morning, we have these work meetings where one person of every department kind of has their whole spiel on how the department's doing, any important information, all of that. And normally, I stay as far away from that as I can because I don't feel comfortable in those kind of situations. But the last couple weeks, I've been over here like, hey, let me be the person for our department this week. And that's what I've been doing. And then when it comes to strangers, I have recently gone to a lot of work events for my boyfriend, met a lot of his coworkers, and they are all strangers, all new people. And both situations, one, because it was a large group, even if I'm more familiar with the group, and maybe a smaller group, but I'm not familiar at all with the group. They're both kind of uncomfortable. And so I decided, let's find situations that have the communication in a group that has some comfortable and uncomfortable aspects. And I improved some of my nonverbal and verbal communication, raised my voice, tried to smile more, fixed my posture, just kind of make myself feel more confident definitely had been something that I wanted to focus on in these kinds of experiences. And when it came to feedback from everyone else, when it came to the work meetings, it was like, yes, you said what we need to be said. You said it clearly. You didn't seem like you were anxious or uncomfortable, and you did great. And then when it was the strangers, I mean, even when I felt a little anxious, they kind of took it more so as shy, which might have helped me a little bit in that. But I wasn't necessarily labeled as awkward, but more so kind of cute and shy. And these kinds of feedbacks, these positive feedbacks, tend to kind of help with that confidence I was talking about earlier. So as a result, I've definitely felt not only more confident based off the way other people have perceived me in these situations, but there's also the fact that I did it. This sense of I did it before, I can do it again. It's building my confidence, and that's helping me with kind of improving where I'm at with this skill. All in all, communication in a group is extremely important. That skill is extremely important because it allows you to express yourself and understand how both you perceive yourself, perceive others, and how others perceive you in social settings. And those understandings of not just other people's perceptions and your own, but also being able to fully get out experiences by having the skills to do so always makes everything better. So thank you. This is why I chose communication in a group as my skill to improve on, and I hope to continue to improve in it. Thank you.